Okay, this is the 14th day. If you've got everything that I've showed you up to this point perfect, this ponying won't be no big deal. A couple of little short, quick notes though. If you're just going to skip over all that other stuff and start ponying them, the chances of getting in a wreck are pretty good. Now, if you don't have a horse that will wait for the babies, what Chubby's doing right now is he's telling that colt he needs to be back here by me. When we take off, he'll probably quit that. But you got to have a pony horse that will wait for you, and they got to be patient. This is my wife's new cash horse. We've ponied every colt that's ever came on this place with this horse. He's pretty much a true professional at it. When he's not giving her rides in the show pen, he's helping me here at the house. This first pony session is all about them not being afraid, with me being up here above them. And you can tell this little stud's not too afraid, and that's a good thing. Don't get in a hurry. You may never see me take a turn. I said the same things on the other video. I don't want to take a turn, but you got to have a good enough pony horse to where if you have to take a turn, he can go ahead and pull one. You got to have one that's quiet enough to where if you take your legs off of him, he basically waits for you. Oh, Chubby's being kind of a crank. And I also, on the other video I said this, and I'm going to say it on this one too. I'd like to thank Janet Alcott and the Rockin' A Ranch for letting me work with these two babies and film them. Both of these colts are out of her stud, Easy to Love. Matt Zimmerman shows him, and Matt's had quite a bit of success with them. Both of these colts are for sale, but if nobody buys them, they're going to get turned out, just like all the other weaners that come through this place. After they get ponied, they'll get turned out and caught up again next spring. One more thing that I want to say is, if you'll look on the timestamp, you'll see this is the 14th work, but this is about the 20th day. You cannot work these horses 20 days in a row, not these weaners. These weaners can't handle it. But when I give a weaning colt the day off, he doesn't really get the day off. I'll go out there in his pen and I teach him to come up to me. And then I scratch on him and I walk away. Do not let these babies walk away from you. Do not let them decide when they can leave. What I do with them when I'm just spending time with them like that is I'll scratch on them a little bit and I'll walk away. And then pretty quick they get to craving that and they start meeting you. And they start wanting to be with you. But do not let them leave. And another thing you don't want to do when you're in the pen is you do not want to let these colts come up and touch you. That's one of the rules on my place. Is a horse can never touch me, but I can touch them anytime I want. So do not let these little baby horses, when you get done fooling around with them, don't let them use you for a scratching post, and don't let them come up and rub on you and get in your space. If you want to touch them, you walk up to them. If they walk up to you and you decide to touch them, you touch them first. If you start letting these horses touch you first, they'll start pushing you around. And that's a bad problem to have. But anyway, this ain't going to be like the ponying you've seen at the racetrack. I'm going to try not to take a turn. I'm going to try to get them to stay with me with some float in the line. And if they will, I'll push him over. And there. Just bend them, just like you would if you were leading them on the ground. I want floating that line. And if they don't have enough room, I'll push my horse over. That's why you've got to have these horses that'll go off your feet. Chubby's being kind of cranky. This is the first time he's got caught up since the show season was over. And I put him back to work. And he's kind of thinking it's still vacation time. I don't blame him. Now, there's not enough room here for both horses, so I'll push him over. Now this little baby's stuck, so I'll pull him off to the side. And I'll push old Chubby over so there's lots of room there. I don't normally do this pulling or this ponying in a little circle by the camera. Usually we just take off. But I wanted you guys to hear what I had to say. You got to be patient with them, and if you've done all the steps, nothing that you add is going to be a problem. Now see how he's stuck? I'm not going to pull him straight. I'm going to bend him just like I did when I was on the ground. And when he softens up, and I got that float back, I'll soften up to him. Try not to run over your dog. That becomes really important down the line. Now if I stop, just like if we were on the ground, if I stop, he stops. I come up here and rub his head. Get him used to me being up above him. Oh, Chubby's being kind of cranky. That's going to happen to you. It isn't a perfect world. But if you've got a horse that's broke, we can work on Chubby's attitude and lead this colt around. It's all good. But one thing that you can't have is you can't have something that's jumping around and not waiting for these babies. This pony horse has got to wait for them. He has to. It's his job. Now I'm going to push him over here to the side of this walkthrough and see if we can make the colt walk through the walkthrough. Get some float in my line. That's the beginning. That's why we teach them to follow our hand. If I point my hand out there, move that rope over just like I was riding, the little colt steps over. If I point my hand over here, put a little pressure on that jaw, the little colt follows me. Move my horse over, so there's room for the colt. At this stage of the game, these weaning babies are not going to just stay up here and push around on these big horses. They're just not going to do it. You'll scare them to death. And I keep my rope so that if they do stick on me, I got two choices. I can either bend them like this and get them unstuck, or I can take a turn. But don't take a turn on these colts until they're comfortable. You'll just pull one over, you'll just scare him. And if you scare these baby horses, they'll quit you. Now, probably that's probably all I'm going to do today on the camera. We'll take these two baby horses and we'll pull them around a little bit more and probably take them down the dirt road. But take your time with these baby horses. And if you have any troubles, just Facebook me. I'll dang sure answer any questions you got. But that's how easy it is to get a weanling colt broke. Now he's ready to turn out. Maybe go to in-hand trail, who knows? Thank you folks for your time.